This is Matthew Kratter's Bitcoin University. Today I want to answer the question, do Bitcoin Core devs even run their own nodes? But first I need to introduce the people that are going to be in this video. This is Jeremy Rubin, a longtime contributor to Bitcoin Core and the author of BIP 119, the CTV, or one of the CTV BIPs that got a lot of airtime a couple years back. My understanding is that Jeremy used to be a Bitcoin Core dev but stepped away after receiving a lot of pushback over CTV and is now working on a Bitcoin project called Judica. I'll put a link to this in the description notes below. They're working on developing Sapio, a smart contract programming language for Bitcoin. Then we have Rodarmor, who we've spoken about before on this channel. He's the inventor of ordinals theory as well as inscriptions, which is spam on Bitcoin. And as we discussed in a previous video, he also is interested, believe it or not, in dog porn. I'll put a link to that, but I don't suggest reading it. And so there's this podcast called the Hell Money Podcast, hosted by Erin Redwing and Rodarmor. This is the podcast we're going to be looking at. It looks like Erin Redwing has an interesting thing here about astrology forecasts in Bitcoin in 2025, but it looks like she's also a scientist. And if this is the same person, 6-year PhD student in Earth and planetary science at UC Berkeley. So those are the three characters you're going to see in this video. Let's just take a listen.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like literally it's the same shit.
Yeah.
So this is like a bit of an open secret, but developers are like core developers are kind of like the worst kind of academics in that like how many ordinals do you own? Like not ordinals, but like, you know, inscriptions.
I mean, I own like the one that I made plus like a bunch of donated inscriptions.
But, like,
yeah.
like how many have you made? Like
1.5.
So that's obviously Rodarmor on the left and Jeremy Rubin on the right.
Like, why aren't you like using your own shit? You know, and I feel like developers like just do not do not do anything. Like,
God, I didn't expect to get fucking roasted like this.
You know how many lightning channels? I bet like Lalu probably has lightning channels, but like.
Well, it was probably a lightning channel degen.
Yeah, but like I don't know. There's a lot of things where like people like just don't actually. Like,
Totally.
They could be working really hard on it, like they don't actually like do the thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
A lot of Bitcoin Core devs probably like either like don't have that much Bitcoin, don't run nodes,
yeah.
like don't make transactions more than like once a year. So there's a lot of stuff where like people just like don't really aggressively like try or.
So think about what you've just heard. Remember, this isn't me asserting that Bitcoin Core devs don't own very much Bitcoin and also don't run their own nodes. It's Jeremy Rubin, who personally knows all of these devs. So here's a question for core devs. Is this correct? Is Jeremy Rubin right? Or is he a liar when he's saying things like this? Now let's contrast this with someone who actually runs Bitcoin nodes. This was Joe Nakamoto, who you probably know from the space, does some great reporting in the space. And he was talking in my comment section about how he's been spinning up different nodes, both a Bitcoin Core node and a Bitcoin NOTS node, to compare the speeds. And I was saying to him, I saw you were saying that your initial block download, your IBD, slowed down a lot at some point. And so I asked him, did that correspond with the March 2023 inscriptions boom and all the stuff we saw in 2023? And he responded, yes, it slowed down during the 2023 period. So again, unlike the Bitcoin Core devs, according to Jeremy Rubin, here's someone who actually runs a lot of nodes and is playing around with this. So Joe says, yes, it slowed down. This download slowed down during the 2023 period. He said, I also kept an eye on 2017 when blocks were full, but it was still quicker than the 2023 stretch. The past few months, by comparison, were very quick. So some of the filters do seem to be working. Another interesting thing about Joe Nakamoto, I made this video, I believe last week, about Bitcoin spammers working with the CCP, and we talked about a company called Bitlayer that was going to go direct submission to some of the miners. Well, it turns out in one of Joe's videos, he actually interviews some of the people from Bitlayer in this video, which I'll link to in the description notes below. And in here, they talk about the pre-mine and how basically everyone is standing ahead of you in terms of the token that this thing runs on. Everyone's ahead of you if you're a retail investor that's being dumped on. So that's a nice thing to pair with my previous video. And you can also follow Joe on Twitter. I'll put a link in the description notes below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.